Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Last First Date Radio, the place to be for creating healthy, lasting relationships in midlife. And today I am so excited to be speaking with a friend, dating and love coach Polina Solda, on how to get a man to commit to you forever. For the past 11 years, I have been a love and women's empowerment coach. I help women over 40 enter into the best relationships they've ever had and find the man of their dreams. And the secret is that they found their own value first. I call this the Woman of Value movement, and as I advance it, I plan to support women even further by giving them the tools to show up, stand up, and speak up from the bedroom to the boardroom. In the office, I'm really actually looking forward to speaking in the workplace because we all need to find our voice. It's such an important thing, and too many women stay quiet. It's been in the news a lot where women are finally speaking up, and it makes my heart really full when I see women who have courage to speak up, especially about hard things. Every week I bring you a tip on how to become a woman of value, and this week's tip is create a life that energizes you and fills you up. So often we don't really take charge of our own lives and find the things that really make us happy. We're so busy living somebody else's version of our life. And I really encourage you to find the thing that turns you on, that lights you up, because when you find that, you become so much more exciting to be around and interesting to be around. You'll like your life better, and other people will want to surround themselves, be in your presence. So create a life that energizes you and fills you up. And before I bring Polina on, I just want to mention that if you're not yet a member of my private Facebook group, which is called Your Last First Date, please join us. The conversation there is positive, it's supportive, it's always interesting, and it's a place to come for community support. So if you're over 40 and you're either in a relationship or single, come and join us because this is really an awesome group. It's highly monitored. There's no man bashing. So, come join us, Your Last First Date. And now for my guest, Polina Solda. Her dating expertise comes from a roller coaster of real-life experiences. She struggled in love, getting married. She was divorced. She was looking for love again in her 30s. Then she moved to New York to earn her master's and work at the UN. She also got a master's degree in dating by going over 100 dates. And she unlocked the secrets of finding and keeping love. And after she uncovered what was holding her back, she shifted to a new place. And that's how she attracted her dream man, who proposed to her after 6 months of dating. They've been in a soulmate relationship for over 10 years. They have a beautiful little boy, and I can't wait to hear her story. Welcome to the show, Polina.
Thank you so much, Sandy. It's such a joy and pleasure to be on your show, and I'm very excited about the juicy conversation that we're about to have today.
Me too. And you're usually the one interviewing me, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's nice to have you on the other side of the interview screen here, because I want to learn about you and share your story and your work with our audience. So I always like to start with what brought you to this work. And we in the intro, we talked a little bit about it, but if you can talk a little bit about your passion in helping women find love and how you came to this place.
Absolutely. And yes, so my story is really, it's actually very much aligned with your movement, which I'm a big fan of course, finding your value. And what for me, the way I was brought up, well, I was raised by a single mother, and my biological father abandoned us. He left when I wasn't even born. So I've seen my father once when I was already an adult. But that being said, I didn't have any really role models. My mom remains single. She's still single, and she has a lot of anger and resentment towards, and even hatred towards men, which she never fully recovered from that betrayal and abandonment. And what I had to do first is to find my way to, first of all, see if so one thing I didn't want is to repeat my mom's destiny, where like I would be just alone on my own, kind of bitter and angry and struggle and not have a love life at all and not have a partnership. And at the same time, I didn't have any role models. Like it wasn't like I could see what it would be like to be with a man. So the biggest and first lesson that I learned, and it's something that inspired me to do this work, and really it's aligned with your movement. It's about finding your values of woman. Is when someone was attracted to me. So there was this man who liked me, and we started dating, and we got married both in our early 20s. So just because somebody liked me, it was I didn't know my own value. I didn't have a clear vision of what I wanted. And, of course, that marriage was doomed, so it didn't last. And we got divorced, so I had to learn the hard way what really, like, the number one thing, and which I'll share right now. And, of course, it's being a chooser, right? And you can only be a chooser when you clearly know your own values as a woman, so that you actually know you have that ability to choose. And it's very different perspective from like, oh, do you like me? Pick me, or will anyone ever want to love me or be with me? So it's kind of that complete shift, and being very clear about what you want to create in your relationship. So, and just understanding the power of this. If you just get this one thing, like if you have that clarity and you own your own value, you're clear about who you are, you're clear about what you want to create, because you are a creator in your life and, of course, in your love life, then anything is possible. And it's truly, my story, like how I shifted. I told you about, the first two decades of my life. And then I was in my 30s, I dated, and I learned my lesson. I said I will not have another divorce. I will marry for love and for legacy. Creating a family was very important to me. So, and we do have a 6-year-old son, and we've been together for a decade. And I can say with absolute certainty now that we're more in love today than before. And again, it all started with that clarity, which I see a lot of women actually struggle with. They might know, like, oh, this is my type, or this is kind of my man I want, but it goes so much deeper. So, and that's what inspired me, because I just see for everybody it is possible to have this amazing, lasting relationship, no matter what your background is, no matter where you've been, what your story is, what your past has been like.
Thank you for sharing that story. It's very inspirational. And, people can't see you through the radio waves, but you're a beautiful woman. And I think a lot of people think that, if you're beautiful, you don't struggle. If I only looked like her, if you only had that education, then men would flock to me. And as you have described here, it was so much deeper. And when you look back at where it starts, from your childhood, from the stories that you tell yourself based on what you hear and learn from your mother, from your father, that imprints. That's the blueprint that we go on until we start to unlock that. And so, you can be beautiful, you can be not so beautiful. It's all the inside work is what makes you able to attract the right person. It has very little to do with the externals, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, we see people falling in love everywhere. across, ages. And what's interesting, I see this new trend is interracial marriages. It's so beautiful to see because it just shows that love has no boundaries. So I think it's kind of it's a myth, right? And it's one of those maybe unconscious blocks, and there's a lot of pressure in our society to look a certain way, but that is not what makes a man to commit to you forever. Because if it was, then every 20-year-old model-like woman who is young and pretty would be happily married and would be madly in love, and it's just not the case. In fact, what I see is that it's much harder for women who might be physically more attractive because there are actually a lot of barriers, like men are more intimidated. They have their own issues with, am I good enough? Is she out of my league? And et cetera. So it's actually, it could be a barrier because if I'm an average-looking woman, but I have that vibe about me, like you said, I'm a woman of value, and I've created this fulfilling life that just really lifts me up and gives me the energy where I show up. I kind of light up the room. Then men will be talking to me. They will not be talking to those physically attractive but not beautiful women, if you know the distinction there, that are just cold and unapproachable.
Yeah, so true. Such a good distinction. And I think that it just gives hope to anybody who wants to do this work, who's ready to do this work, that they can all have the love they deserve by doing this inner work. So, and I also want to mention that I know that you continue to do this work, that it's not just, one and done, that you did Tony Robbins' work this year or last year. You continue to learn and grow, and that's something I really admire and respect about you.
Oh, thank you so much. I would say we both, and in general, us dating relationship coaches and experts, we're students of love, and we continue to grow. And I believe strongly that if we're not growing, then we're dying. So if we're not investing in ourselves, which is, of course, the best investment you can make is in yourself. So whether it's working with a coach or going to a transformational event, it could be anything. It's really that kind of lifelong process, right? That journey that we are on. So it doesn't stop.
That's exactly. And that's certainly what I love to surround myself with in general, is people who are still curious and learning and growing. It's exciting to be around people like that. So let's talk about the kinds of women who come to you. What would be like a description of the kind of women who would hire you?
Well, a lot of women who I work with, and the majority of my success stories are women, I would say, somewhere in their maybe 30s, 40s, who really want not just create a committed relationship and partnership. They want marriage. Some of them want marriage and family. So I believe there's just very, very different way of dating and approaching dating when you have that vision that you want to have a family, or you want to have marriage, right? So, and I specialize in that, if you will, and that is my kind of a strong area of expertise where I understand the process and what makes a man to commit. So I would say women who are looking for that lifelong commitment and marriage definitely constitute the majority of my clients.
Perfect. So that is your journey, and it makes sense that you would teach what you had to learn. So,
exactly. Yes. Exactly. I can help, or I can guide and support women who might be just a few steps behind, but going in the same direction.
Yeah, I love it. I think that somebody once told me you should always have a mentor and a mentee. Like you should always be learning from somebody and teaching. And I think that when we're always, like we teach what we know, but we always learn from others, that's what helps us continue this cycle. So so you teach what you know. And so, yes, let's get to the topic. And what we were going to talk about today is what does make a man commit for a lifetime?
That's it's such an important like understanding what really makes a man to commit, because it's actually we women and versus men, we commit for different reasons. We're looking for different things in the relationship, in the marriage, and partnership. So the first thing to understand is there are differences, and then of course we'll uncover some of that. And what I see and what I know, of course, from my experience and going. So again, the reason I help women because I've gone on over 100 dates in a matter of less than a year before I actually met the love of my life, my husband. But they don't have to, because it's really like that knowledge. Well, the first thing is definitely, if I put it in one word, it's appreciation. It's making him a hero. So when your man feels like a hero, he feels like your hero, then he will do anything. He will move mountains. He will make a commitment, not just of marriage, right? Not just getting on his knee and proposing to you. In my case, my love story, my husband actually was. He told me that I never thought I would become a father. He felt like so he had some. Like some men do, right, some fears and some blocks around it. And for me, I was very, very clear. So again, going back to that point that I made earlier, and what has shifted for me, when I went back into dating, and I was very, very clear about what I wanted. I wanted to create a family. That was non-negotiable for me. I was already married in my 20s, and I knew that this marriage, I was so clear and highly selective. So that's where that, again, being a woman of value comes in. I would not put up with crumbs. I would not put up with ghosting. I would not put up with flaky men or men who are non-committal. But what I was open to, if I met a man who was open. So in my husband's case, he wasn't not a clear yes. He was not a man who would put on his online profile and say, yes, I definitely want children, right? It was like maybe. So, and what happened is just having this clarity. That's number one about what I wanted. But then when we started dating, how he was my hero. He felt that way. He did the things that, like, basically what you do as a woman when you constantly kind of feel your relationship. So there's that space between you and a man that's called relationship, and you fill it up with appreciation. You bring appreciation. You bring that praise and that unconditional approval into this relationship. Miracles will happen. So, for example, just a quick story. When we just started dating, so we were dating maybe just the first few weeks, and I was moving. So I moved, and I remember I moved to a new place, and he came up. Maybe it was 3 weeks into dating, so he came up upstairs, and he looked. It's like, oh wow, you need to paint this place. So he, a lawyer, ended up painting my entire studio for me. So
wow.
that's what, and he was joking, like, well, at the lawyers, like, this is like, so he, like, from the beginning, and I was so appreciative of everything he did from the very beginning, that this feeling that he gets from just being in your presence, being with you, and associating that feeling with you, he will commit to you. He will be there for a lifetime, and it's such a powerful thing. And with that, of course, so comes so appreciation, acknowledgement, praise. Right? Men don't get that. It's not like the men are talking in the office and saying, "Well, you have such a beautiful blue tie. No, you have even prettier tie." Like, men don't talk like that. We women give to ourselves, to each other that, right? We give it. But men, they don't get that, and they crave it so much. So just giving him that appreciation and approval that he knows, just like we want to be safe, he knows that he's safe, that he can be himself, he is accepted. That is, and he's respected, which is another big thing, right? That is just a game changer. So if you come with that mindset shift, even on the first date, like giving that appreciation, giving that approval, giving that praise to a man, you will definitely have men asking you for on another date, or they ask you for a committed relationship, or they ask you to marry you. So then it just kind of progresses, right? And there's really nothing else you need to do except for just allow him to create that space to receive, for him to be your hero.
So I know that a lot of our listeners are going to hear this and say, wow, how do I let my guard down and do that? Or how do I know he's even deserving of my praise? So how would you address the doubters out there?
Yeah, it's a great question because, the guard, putting the guard down, so we getting in our own way, right? So if, and this is how you know, right? So you can just experiment, right, with the difference that it will. So it's just, I believe in practical approaches. I believe in testing things and implementation. So I like to say, it was one of my business mentors said, implementation over learning. So implement it in your own life. So just see where, when you're on guard, right, and just see how many men approach you in any given time. And most likely they don't, right? When you just test and you say, well, let me, instead of being on guard and being skeptical and being like that, being judgmental, because guess what? If you want to create a deep connection and emotional intimacy, then the judgment has to go. It has to be judgment-free zone, if you will, to enter. So if you completely let go of that judgment, and you sincerely look for something to appreciate in another person, it could be you are you see a man maybe helping an elderly woman, and you just look into his eyes and smile and say something. Wow, what a gentleman! Just giving that appreciation, like just see how he's like gonna stand up and grow like a few inches taller, and like he's gonna turn into a hero, and he'll want to you tap into those two primary needs that every man is hardwired to provide and protect. That's how you get men to commit to you. That's how you get men to paint your entire apartment after dating you for a few weeks. That's how you do it. That's the magic of it. So just play with it. Just see, well, what if I next time, I sincerely, it's got to be genuine, so you can't really fake it. So look, again, what you appreciate appreciates. So when you look for something to appreciate in your next date or in the man you're already with, tap into that and then see what happens. What you're going to notice is that he'll offer you some help. He'll go an extra mile. He'll do something for you. Amazing things because men want to serve. Like they want to serve you. They want to make you happy. If you just allow them, so that's why you got to take that guard down so that you create that space for them to step in as your hero, so to be your provider and the protector. Just experiment with that. See how the energy will shift, how men will look at you differently, the experiences you'll have. If men start approaching you, that's great. And then you can decide which way you want to go. Like, do you want to go back to the old way, or do you want to take on this new way of your perception of yourself and man and dating in general that will create new possibilities for you?
I love it. And then if we bring back the beginning conversation about knowing that you're at choice and having the clear vision, then you know that even if you invite a man in by appreciating and he starts to come forward, if you have your choice, if you know you're at choice and you have your clear vision, you'll know whether you want to have him come even closer. So it's not with a big guard that you're pushing him away, right? It's that you're seeing with this openness whether there is a connection worth exploring.
Absolutely. You always have the choice, and it's your responsibility. So we're talking about being a woman of value. It's your responsibility to speak up, right, and to express yourself, because men want to be our heroes, but they need to know, like, exactly, like, how, like, what would make him be our hero. So we got to express our needs, wants, and desires, and at the same time, you want to be also very clear about the things that your deal breakers or your non-negotiables. So setting healthy, clear boundaries. So it goes both ways, and that is the foundation for a happy and lasting, loving relationship, marriage, or partnership, whatever level of commitment it is. Pretty much the same fundamental principles apply.
Yeah, this is so key, all of these things. And it's also my passion, just teaching women how to set those boundaries and speak up. And you just see every day, I see messages from women who don't know how to say what they need to say. There's just something up on my Facebook group where somebody was struggling with what to say when a man wanted to pick her up after one date. He wanted to drive with her in the car, and she wasn't comfortable. And everybody was just saying to her, just tell him, you'll meet him there. You're not comfortable getting in his car until you know him better. I mean, it's not that hard to say. It's really not if you're just straightforward. But we were all programmed to be nice at all costs, and that is a problem. Just before we get on to the I know you have a gift for us, but before we go on to that, I just would love to hear some sentence stems. I love to give people just a little bit of a structure around appreciation, because I think people find it really difficult, especially on a first date. Like, what would you appreciate or compliment without it feeling insincere or awkward, weird, too much? Like, you started to give some examples. So if you could give a few more, I think it would help our audience a lot.
Sure. Well, one thing is, and again, so of course I mentioned boundaries. I know you are the go-to expert when it comes to setting boundaries, and I think it's very so important. And so again, from my first, since we're talking about the first last date, we are on the show called Last First Date. I want to share an example from my last first date. And I just, first of all, I got to say that I love first dates, and I think they're so much fun. And just to illustrate the degree of how much I really, really mean it, now we're about to celebrate a decade of being together. We had our first date on June 1st, and every month since then we've been celebrating, we've been acknowledging our first date. Usually we go out and we go on a date. And yesterday morning I woke up and my husband said, "Good morning, my sunshine, happy anniversary," because it was October 1st. So, but anyway, the side note, first dates are great. I love first dates. So, and by the way, if you just, start getting excited, like, what can you appreciate about the first date? We're not even talking about the man at this point. It's shifting your mindset and attitude. Well, guess what? you can appreciate the novelty. You might be going to a new place, right? You might try something new, whether it's you try new cuisine or you discover, like maybe you listen to kind of music, like you're going to learn something. So appreciating that. So in my case, I had a very short first date with my now husband that was conveniently kind of, I like to leverage my time. I tell my clients, so first date, keep it quick and short. And I had a party to go to. So I conveniently planned, I asked him to meet. When he asked, where do you want to meet? It was just a block away from my house. So and by the way, let the man step up and make an effort to see you. So when he does that, when he asks you, well, where would you like to meet, and you name one of the places that it's convenient for you so that you don't have to commute for an hour or drive for a long distance or whatever, then you can appreciate, you can say, well, thank you so much for meeting me on my turf, right? So I live not far away. You don't have to disclose where you live, but just
right, don't do that.
Just that. Another thing you could do is if he suggests a place, if it's not a criteria, let's say you live in a small town and everything is pretty close, so it doesn't really matter. Then again, always look for ways. How can he put in some effort? Because they want to put an effort. They want to do the work. Let's give them a chance. Let's give them the opportunity to be a hero, right, on the minuscule scale. So when he comes up with a place and it's really cute, let's say it's a very cute tapas bar, wine bar, then just acknowledge and say, wow, like I didn't even know this place exists. Like how many times you've gone on a date to some cute place in your neighborhood and then like, wow, he knows it better than I do. So that's another reason to appreciate that, right? If he offers you a drink, which again, I would have no expectations, but if he offers you a drink, then appreciate that, right? If he shares something, if he really opens up, and then you can appreciate that. I can say, I really appreciate just how open, like, or if he's being nervous and he kind of like puts himself into that vulnerable space and says, well, I don't really date much. I mean, it's all new to me. And instead of having the judgment, right? Oh, what's wrong with you or whatever, appreciate, just say, well, thank you for being so open with me and just accepting that, right? So, and appreciating that level of openness and vulnerability, which is just beautiful to see.
I love all that. I think it's so important. And if he opens the door, anything, and this topic comes up a lot, and it's just would love your opinion on this in terms of thanking, because we're talking about appreciation. What do you think that women should follow up with a thank you text or something like that after a first date?
When you ask about the timing, or if?
If they should do it at all.
Okay.
I have an opinion. I would love to hear yours.
Okay. Well, again, it's got to be genuine. Like if you appreciate the effort that someone put, if you appreciate the time you spend together, then I would definitely express it. I would send a text message, maybe like the next morning, saying, I thank you so much. I really appreciated this place that you picked, or I really appreciate our conversation about X, right? So again, and if you want more, well, along with appreciation, you can kind of like plant the seeds for, or like I call it future pacing, where you kind of you might mention, let's say you talked about a different place that is even better, or has even whatever it is, right? So kind of you can mention that I'd love to, I can't wait to see, or I can't wait to check out that new place we talked about. So, but leave a door open. You're not making plans. You're not telling a man like when, and you're asking, are we going out there? But definitely appreciate it. And even if you don't want to see someone again, then again, use that opportunity to thank them and say, best wishes. So just let them know that thank you, and it's kind of a closure. But I think it's a matter of being polite, and again, great opportunity to practice appreciation.
I love it. And I think it's good karma, just taking the high road no matter what happens, because so often women get so burnt out from dating. Like, I love hearing how excited you were for every first date. You looked for opportunities to learn something instead of, oh my God, another date, so disappointing, he wasn't the one. Oh, how to get dressed, blow my hair out, get my nails done. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in your mindset, and we talked about that at the beginning. There was a big shift that you went through to be able to get here, and I know you take women through that shift, and it's so important. So let's talk about next steps, because I know you have something special to offer our audience who wants to find that lifetime commitment. What can they do to take action today?
Absolutely. So yes, I am very excited for your listeners to be among the first ones to know that we are launching a free online show. This is our third annual show. It's called Meet and Marry Mr. Right. And of course, Sandy, I'm so excited that you are being a returning guest multiple times, a returning guest expert on the show, so that everyone listening, of course, will hear your perspective on what it takes to get on the path of meeting and marrying your Mr. Right. So for everyone listening, you can register now. So the event starts on November 1st, but you can register now. It's absolutely free to attend, and it is meetandmarrymrright.com. We'll look forward to seeing you at our live show that starts in November.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited when it goes live, and I will be posting this in the show notes, and my audience will get more information on this from me when we get closer to the launch date. So thank you so much, Polina, for coming on the show today. If you can give us one last tip for going on your last first date, what would you want it to be?
If there's one thing everyone wants to walk away with, it would be being in the flow and in the state of appreciation, starting with yourself. And everything that you're already blessed with, all the people you have in your life, all the opportunities that are available to you, and appreciating all of your experiences that you have in your dating and love life. Those are lessons to learn, and nuggets of wisdom to get, and opportunities for you to grow and become the best version of yourself, the high-value woman you are.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Polina. It's a beautiful final message. And thank you for being here today and for doing your beautiful work in the world.
Thank you so much, Cindy.
And for everybody else, thank you for listening. And if you love our show, please go over to iTunes or wherever you listen and give us a rating and review so that more people will find us and listen to Last First Date Radio. And don't forget to join my Facebook group, Your Last First Date. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I hope you go on your last first date very soon.